Okay. So my first question is going to be, would you consider yourself a helicopter parent or not?
Yes, I would definitely consider myself to be a helicopter parent.
Is why do you feel it's necessary to be more on top of me rather than not? So, for example, while I'm at school, why would you rather be calling me all day and checking up on me rather than like letting me enjoy myself at school and doing my own thing and contact you when I'm ready?
I think it's a maternal thing. I just worry. I'm concerned. I want you to be safe and healthy and happy. And I just worry about you. When you're not around me, I just don't know what you're doing. And I hope that you're studying, you're up for you're awake for your classes, that you're eating, that you're taking care of yourself. So I definitely feel the need to check up on you. And I get nervous. And so as a result of that, I probably bother you and annoy you, but it makes me feel better to have contact with you.
Do you sometimes feel like you're imposing or you're going too far when it comes to, I guess, rather butting into my life, or do you feel like this has just always been how how you've been as a parent since I was like younger, like throughout my whole life, or do you think it's changed since I've gotten to college?
Well, it's interesting. I think you've changed. I don't think that I've changed. So that before you went to college, you were always living at home. And obviously, as a young child, you needed me. And so I was always there and I was happy to be there. And I was used to playing that role in your life. And then when you went to college, all of a sudden, I had a loss and empty feeling. And I just couldn't control you or the situation anymore. And so I think that it's just something that's innate in me. I've always done it. And it's just that you're the one who grew up and changed. And I had to adapt to you changing. And I'm still adapting.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to give you a statistic and then I'm going to ask you. So, according to 2013 Clark University poll, two-thirds of moms and more than half of fathers say that they have some form of contact with their adult child almost every day. Are you considered to be a part of this statistic? If so, do you consider that a bad thing, or do you find it to be benefit the relationship or even benefit myself or the child perhaps altogether?
You're saying from being in touch with you every day.
Yeah,
I I suppose, for my own peace of mind, I feel better knowing that I'm in contact with you every day.
right.
I know that I feel better when I speak to you, even if we just have a short conversation, just to know that you're okay. Want you to know that you're in my thoughts. I'm thinking of you. I'm here for you if you need me for anything, questions or advice, or just someone to talk to. And the same for me. So that's the only way that I would want it to be, is to be in contact with you every single day.
But do you sometimes feel like I may be a little too coddled? As in, like, I won't know how to handle myself in the future when I'm living more as an adult on my own after college?
I think that you naturally have a personality in which you are a strong, independent person. That is just your nature. That's who you are. So it has, as much as it might have been difficult for me when you were younger because you were strong headed, I think that now it suits you because you have a leader type of mentality. And so you generally take care of yourself day to day. I'm just checking in on you to make sure that you're okay. Have I coddled you? Probably. Have I enabled you? Definitely. But in spite of all of that, I think that you are a strong, independent person, and that's who you are, and I'm proud of that. But being the person that I am, I still need to talk to you. I still need to know that you're okay.
When you were growing up, do you feel that your mom had been rather a helicopter mom in the same way that you are? Or do you feel that you were independent like me growing up and you kind of had to figure it out on your own?
Well, being the youngest of three sisters, and my parents had me rather late, and given the fact that they survived the Holocaust, it was a totally different time and place in which I grew up. Obviously, there was no social media, there were no cell phones, and as a result of that, when I was in college, I spoke to my mother once a week. I would call on Sundays. And we were not in constant contact as much as she might have liked that. She definitely coddled me, absolutely, as a child, without a doubt. I think that I was somewhat independent compared to where she was from. But in any event, yeah, so in some respects, I definitely have repeated some of the patterns that I grew up with, for sure.
Do you think that you would have preferred to have a parent that was more invasive, or were you happy to be kind of figuring it out on your own?
I think that, again, as I just mentioned, given the fact that my parents did survive the Holocaust, and that they were older when they had me, I think that there was a much larger generational gap between them and me. They didn't really understand my music. They didn't really make an effort to do that. They just couldn't understand certain things that I was going through, which was a result of my generation. I think that you and I are much closer. I have a much better understanding and grasp, maybe because I'm interested in your music and in your clothes and the things that you go through. So, yeah.
So I want to indulge in the fact that 20 to 25-year-olds are now not really doing for themselves, but having their parents do it all for them. And a study reveals that parents feel that because they're the ones paying the bills, they're entitled to know what is happening with their children at all times and having all the control, whether their child is having a problem at college or grad school, or, for example, if they're living in an apartment, the parent feels like they have to be the one to clean up the mess and take control. So colleges are now trying to draw the line to end this sudden drawback. Since I am clearly the newest generation, this is a constant problem that has been happening in recent years. Do you agree with this? Do you believe that you're a part of this problem?
So if I understand what you're saying correctly, you're saying that studies show that parents are more involved and they have no choice but to help their kids
But
deal
they
with
feel
this?
like they're the ones that need to get involved. Like they feel that because they're the ones paying the bills and you're in charge of my money,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
that
So you
you
feel like-
have more of a right to just barge into my life and control everything, and that I won't have any of that power.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, there are two ways of looking at things. And I guess the word entitlement comes up. And I guess to some extent, especially your father, yes, he feels that he's entitled to know what your grades are. He feels that he's paying for your education. And he feels that, yes, there is a sense of needing to know and that he feels that he has every right to know. I don't know that I look at it that way, but in your mind, you feel that we're infringing on your space and barging in, where we feel that we're just doing what needs to be done. So it's interesting. Obviously, there's two different ways of looking at it. We're not trying to invade your space and bother you or annoy you, as you would say. We just feel that we want to know that you're okay. That's the bottom line. Our intentions are good and positive, and they're coming from a great place.
But do you feel as if it's creating like a lack of self-resilience and a lack of confidence for me, or in general any helicopter parent is doing that on their children in this generation?
I think a helicopter parent naturally wants to be involved and wants to be in the know and feels that maybe even they know better. The problem is, and I went through this at your age as well, is that you feel that you know better than me. And I feel now, looking back, that I have more experience in life than you do, which is a fact, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
And as a result of my experience, I want to impart some of that, to you. I want you to learn from the good things and the bad things that I've experienced at your age. And I've shared a lot of that with you, different things, that situations that I was in. Some of them I wasn't terribly proud of, but I'd like to think that I learned from each and every experience along the way and that it can help you. And that's how I look at it. So I feel that I'm not doing it to annoy you. I think that it's a control situation to some extent.
But do you feel as a helicopter parent that you are willing to invade in my life in certain areas in order to have more control? Like, are you comfortable giving me more control of my own life, or would you rather have all of that power. Instead, just to for your own self comfort and
No, I think that I need to hold back a little bit. I think that you need to grow up and experience life, and that's how you learn. So I, I, I try not to invade your space all the time. I try to be conscious of the times that I'm calling you and what I'm asking you or telling you. I try to be conscious of that because I don't want to do that. And I think that your natural personality is such that you are an outgoing, independent leader type of person. And that suits you well now. As I said, maybe it was tough for me to deal with when you were a child,
right.
but now it's helpful, and I think that that is your nature. So you do take forward. You do move forward, and you do take control naturally on your own, and I think that's great.
Okay. Yeah. Do you feel that there's anything that I haven't covered regarding helicopter parents or how you are as a parent or how you feel?
Well, I think as we addressed a little bit before, I want you to know that I'm always coming from a good place and the best possible place as far as you're concerned. I want the absolute best for you. Um, Maybe it's just a maternal thing for me. I know that dad really isn't that way. He's not a helicopter parent, as he has his moments, I suppose. But I don't know if it actually is just a result of my mother being a nervous Nelly and always wanting to take care of me because I think she needed to do that for her. I feel like I'm doing it for both of us. I am giving you knowledge about experiences that I've had that in some way parallel some of the things that you go through, hoping that you'll grow and learn from that stuff where you won't make the same mistakes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.